Hello, third graders. We are on chapter 3 of the Sideways Stories from Wayside School, and we are on to the teacher called Mrs. Jules. Here's a funny little picture of her. She's got some crazy hair. All right, this is chapter 3 called Joe. Joe had curly hair, but he didn't know how much hair he had. He couldn't count that high. In fact, he could not count at all. When all the other children went to recess, Mrs. Jules told Joe to wait inside. "Joe," she said, "how much hair do you have?" Joe shrugged his shoulders. "A lot," he said. "But Joe, how much?" said Mrs. Jules. Enough to cover my head," said Joe. "Joe, you are going to have to learn how to count," said Mrs. Jules. "But Mrs. Jules, I already know how to count," said Joe. "Just let me go to recess." "First, count to 10, said Mrs. Jules. Joe counted to 10. 6, 8, 12, 1, 5, 2, 7, 11, 3, 10. "No, Joe, that is wrong," said Mrs. Jules. "No, it isn't," said Joe. "I counted until I got to 10. "But you were wrong," said Mrs. Jules. "I will prove it to you." She put 5 pencils on his desk. "How many pencils do we have here, Joe?" Joe counted the pencils. 4, 6, 1, 9, 5. "There are 5 pencils, Mrs. Jules." "That's wrong," said Mrs. Jules. "How many pencils are there then?" said Joe. "There are 5, said Mrs. Jules. "But that's what I said. May I go to recess now?" "No," said Mrs. Jules. "You got the answer right, but you counted the wrong way. You just got lucky." She set 8 potatoes on his desk. "Now how many potatoes?" Joe counted the potatoes. 7, 5, 3, 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. "There are 8 potatoes." "No, there are 8 potatoes," said Mrs. Jules. "But that's what I said Joe. "May I go to recess now?" "No, you got the answer right, but you counted the wrong way again." She put 3 books on his desk. "Now count the books, Joe." Joe counted the books. 1,000, 1,000,000, 3. 3, Mrs. Jules. "Correct," said Mrs. Jules. "May I go to recess now?" said Joe. "No," said Mrs. Jules. "May I have a potato?" said Joe. "Now listen to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, said Mrs. Jules. "Now you say it." 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, said Joe. "Very good," said Mrs. Jules. "Now put 6 erasers on this desk. Now count the erasers, Joe, just the way I showed you." Joe counted the erasers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. "There are 10, Mrs. Jules." "No," said Mrs. Jules. "Didn't I count right?" asked Joe. "Yes, you counted right, but you got the wrong answer," said Mrs. Jules. "This doesn't make any sense," said Joe. "When I count the wrong way, I get the right answer, and when I count the right way, I get the wrong answer." Mrs. Jules hit her head against the wall 5 times. "How many times did I just hit my head against the wall?" she asked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. "You hit your head 10 times, said Joe. "No," said Mrs. Jules. 4, 6, 1, 9, 5. "You hit your head 5 times, said Joe. Mrs. Jules shook her head no and said, "Yes, that is right." The bell rang and all the other children came back from recess. The fresh air made them very excited, and they were laughing and shouting. "Oh, darn," said Joe. "Now I miss recess." "Hey, Joe, where were you?" said John. "You missed a great game of kickball." "I kicked a home run," said Todd. "What was wrong with you, Joe?" asked Joy. "Nothing," said Joe. "Mrs. Jules was trying to show me how to count." Joy laughed. "You mean you don't know how to count?" "Counting is easy," said Maricia. Now, said Mrs. Jules. "What's easy for you may not be easy for Joe, and what's easy for Joe may not be easy for you." "Nothing's easy for Joe," said Maricia. "He is not smart." "I can beat you up," said Joe. "Just try it," said Maricia. "That will be enough," said Mrs. Jules. She wrote Mauricia's name on the blackboard under the word discipline. Joe put his hand on his desk between the 8 potatoes and the 6 erasers. "Don't feel bad, Joe," said Mrs. Jules. "I just don't get it," said Joe. "I'll never learn how to count." "Sure you will, Joe," said Mrs. Jules. "One day it will just come to you. You'll wake up one morning and suddenly you'll be able to count." Joe asked, "If all I have to do is wake up, what am I going to school for?" "School just speeds things up," said Mrs. Jules. "Without school, it might take another 70 years before you wake up and are able to count." "By that time, I may have no hair left on my head to count," said Joe. Exactly, said Mrs. Jules. That is why you go to school. When Joe woke up the next day, he knew how to count. He had 35,006 hairs on his head, and they were all curly. And that's the end of that one. It's just a silly, silly book. So the next chapter is called Sherry, and this is Sherry. You can see a little preview of the picture. It looks like she is sleeping. So we're going to see what Sherry's all about next week. All right, just remember you can come to the library anytime and get books. I would love to see you. I'm there until 1:30 every day, Monday through Friday. I will see you guys soon. Have a great week. Bye.